Coming up on 5 Minute News. Biden sues Greg Abbott over Rio Grande migrant barrier. Putin bans gender change in Russia. And Giuliani ally gives trove of papers to special counsel. It's Tuesday, July 25. I'm Anthony Davis. The Justice Department on Monday sued Texas Governor Greg Abbott over a newly installed floating barrier on the Rio Grande that is the Republicans' latest aggressive tactic to try stopping migrants from crossing into the U.S. from Mexico. The lawsuit asks a federal judge in Austin to force Texas to remove a roughly 1,000-foot line of bright orange wrecking ball-sized buoys that the Biden administration says raises humanitarian and environmental concerns. The suit claims that Texas unlawfully installed the barrier without permission between the border cities of Eagle Pass and Piedras Negras, Mexico. The buoys are the latest escalation of Texas's border security operation that also includes razor wire fencing, arresting migrants on trespassing charges, and sending busloads of asylum seekers to Democratic-led cities in other states. In anticipation of the lawsuit, Abbott sent President Joe Biden a letter earlier yesterday that defended Texas's right to install the barrier. He accused Biden of putting migrants at risk by not doing more to deter them from making the journey to the U.S. "Texas will see you in court, Mr. President," Abbott wrote. The Biden administration said illegal border crossings have declined significantly since new immigration restrictions took effect in May. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters that Abbott's policies as a whole have made it difficult for U.S. Border Patrol agents to access the river. The state deployed the buoys without notifying the International Boundary and Water Commission or the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Mexico's Secretary of State asked the federal government to intervene, saying the barrier violates international treaties. Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed legislation that bans people from officially or medically changing their gender, representing a further blow to Russia's embattled LGBTQ+ community. The act, passed unanimously by both houses of parliament, bans any medical interventions aimed at changing the sex of a person, as well as banning changing a person's gender in official documents or public records. The only exception will be medical intervention to treat congenital anomalies. It also annuls marriages in which one person has changed gender and bars transgender people from becoming foster or adoptive parents. The ban is said to stem from the Kremlin's crusade to protect from what it views as the country's traditional values. Lawmakers say the legislation is to safeguard Russia against Western anti-family ideology, with some describing gender transitioning as pure Satanism. Russia's crackdown on LGBTQ+ people started a decade ago, when the president first proclaimed a focus on traditional family values supported by the Russian Orthodox Church. In 2013, the Kremlin adopted legislation that banned any public endorsement of non-traditional sexual relations among minors. In 2020, Putin pushed through constitutional reform that outlawed same-sex marriage, and last year he signed a law banning propaganda of non-traditional sexual relations among adults. The former New York Commissioner Bernie Kerik, a leading Trump ally who worked with Rudy Giuliani on attempts to overturn the 2020 election, has given the special counsel Jack Smith thousands of documents. The news was another blow to disgraced former President Donald Trump, who last week caused a sensation when he said Smith had, in a letter, told him he was a target in the investigation likely to face criminal charges. Smith and his team have been investigating the former president's role in the events of the January 6 insurrection. In early 2020, Trump pardoned Kerik for crimes, including tax fraud and lying to investigators, for which Kerik had been sentenced to 4 years in jail. Later that year, Kerik worked with Giuliani on attempts to overturn Joe Biden's victory, a push which culminated in the failed but deadly January 6 attack on Congress. Kerrick is set to be interviewed by the special counsel's office in August. Trump faces 71 criminal charges, 34 in New York over hush money payments to the porn star Stormy Daniels, and 37 in the federal investigation of Trump's retention of classified documents, an investigation also run by Smith. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.